Have you ever wondered why certain men seem to leave an unforgettable mark on a woman, even years after the relationship is over? That's exactly what we're diving into today. Women never forget a man who does these 5 things. And I'm not talking about gifts, grand gestures, or sweet words. No, I'm talking about the kind of man whose presence lingers in her mind, not because he chased her, but because he stood out in ways most men never do. Welcome back to the channel where we break down the real dynamics of men, women, and relationships. Today's topic is not for the faint of heart, because what I'm about to share with you challenges a lot of the mainstream nonsense you've been told. If you're here looking for nice guy advice, this probably isn't the video for you. But if you want to understand how to become the kind of man that a woman cannot erase from her memory, stay with me. You see, most men are programmed to believe that making a woman happy means constant validation, endless attention, and sacrificing their own standards. But the truth is, women forget those men easily. They move on from them like they never existed. Why? Because women don't crave men who worship them. They crave men who challenge them, who impact them emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. The men who leave a permanent impression do things differently, and it's often the exact opposite of what most men are taught. In this video, I'm going to break down the 5 specific things you can do that will make a woman remember you long after the relationship is over, whether she admits it or not. Let's get into it. Before we start the video, I want to remind you that my exclusive online course on mastering the dating game is available now. If you've been learning from my YouTube videos, you're only scratching the surface. This course goes deeper, teaching you everything you need to know about the dating game, from approaching a woman to building real attraction. We just finished section 5 in the course, and you won't find this information on videos on my channel. It's easy to access with a secure payment option. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or click the link in the description to enroll now and improve your dating life. He never chases her one. He never chases her. One of the biggest mistakes men make is thinking that the more they pursue a woman, the more she'll want them. That's a lie society has sold for years. The truth is, chasing kills attraction. The more a man chases, the more predictable, desperate, and replaceable he looks in her eyes. Women are not drawn to men who put them on a pedestal. They are drawn to men who value themselves first. When a man chases, he signals that she is the prize, and he's the one hoping to be chosen. That automatically shifts the power dynamic. The woman holds control, and the man becomes just another option, fighting for her attention. And when a man is seen as an option, he's easily forgotten. A man who never chases is not cold or indifferent. He simply allows attraction to flow naturally. He understands that his value isn't determined by her attention. If she's interested, she'll show it. If not, he's perfectly fine walking away without forcing anything. This approach creates mystery and scarcity, 2 powerful forces that work on a woman's emotions. When a man doesn't chase it, triggers her curiosity. She starts to wonder, why isn't he trying harder? Why does he seem so confident? This curiosity often turns into attraction because women instinctively desire what feels rare and difficult to attain. Take, for example, a man who meets a woman at a social event. They have great conversation. There's chemistry. But instead of bombarding her with texts or trying to schedule a dozen dates, he gives her space. He lets her initiate contact. He focuses on his own life, his goals, and his mission. Over time, she starts reaching out more, trying to secure his attention because she senses his confidence and independence. That's the power of not chasing women. Don't forget men who don't make them feel like they're being hunted. They remember the ones who made them work for it. 2, he walks away without fear, walks away without fear. Most men lose all their power in relationships because they're afraid to walk away. They think if they don't constantly hold on, they'll lose her forever. That fear of loss makes them weak, and women can feel it instantly. But here's the truth. The ability to walk away at any moment is one of the most attractive and powerful traits a man can have. Walking away doesn't mean being cold, rude, or disrespectful. It means knowing your worth so deeply that you refuse to stay in situations that no longer serve you. It means you're not emotionally dependent on her presence. If she starts playing games, creating drama, or disrespecting your standards, you're willing to step back without begging, negotiating, or pleading. Women respect men who don't cling. They respect men who aren't afraid to lose them. Why? Because it shows true confidence. It shows emotional strength. A man who can walk away sends a loud message, I choose to be here, but I don't need to be here. That's powerful. When you have this mindset, everything changes. You stop tolerating disrespect. You stop trying to constantly fix things that aren't your fault. You no longer compromise your values just to keep the relationship going. And women sense this. They know they can't control you with emotional games because you won't engage in the drama. You're above it. Most guys get scared the moment they sense distance from a woman. They panic, they double text, they apologize for things they didn't do wrong, and they start overcompensating. That behavior does the exact opposite of what they want. It pushes her away even more. But when a man stands firm and lets go without fear, something different happens. The woman starts to feel the weight of potentially losing him. That's when she starts rethinking her actions. Women never forget men who are strong enough to walk away. Those are the men who remain in the back of their minds because they never got the satisfaction of seeing him desperate. They never experienced him lowering himself to hold on. That creates a lasting impression. In any relationship, the person who is willing to walk away holds the most power. Not because they are playing games, but because they value themselves enough to know they deserve peace, respect, and mutual effort. That's the type of man that women remember long after everything is over. He controls his emotions. 3. He controls his emotions. One of the quickest ways a man loses a woman's respect is by being emotionally unstable. Many men believe that constantly expressing every little feeling, reacting to every situation, or getting upset easily will show that they care or are invested. In reality, it often signals weakness. Women are deeply wired to seek emotional stability in a man. If you can't control your emotions, you're seen as unpredictable, and unpredictability kills attraction when it comes from weakness. A man who controls his emotions remains steady, no matter what's happening around him. He doesn't allow a woman's mood swings, tests, or behavior to dictate how he feels or acts. This doesn't mean being cold or emotionless. It means being grounded. He can feel things, but his feelings don't control his behavior. That's true strength. Women are naturally emotional creatures. They experience a wide range of emotions daily. What they subconsciously want in a man is balance. They want someone who can steady the ship when things get rough. When she's upset, frustrated, or trying to push his buttons, the man who remains calm, composed, and unbothered becomes incredibly attractive. He becomes her emotional anchor. Most guys fall into the trap of reacting emotionally when faced with challenges in a relationship. She ignores a text. He panics. She brings up an argument. He gets defensive. She seems distant. He accuses or begs for attention. All of these reactions scream insecurity. Instead of drawing her closer, it drives her away because it shows that his emotions are controlled by her actions. A man who controls his emotions doesn't get easily jealous, doesn't act out of desperation, and doesn't break down when things don't go his way. He understands that his peace of mind is his responsibility. He knows that overreacting or losing his cool only puts him at a disadvantage. When you stay calm under pressure, women take notice. It shows you're different from most men who crumble when emotions run high, even when she tries to test your patience, hoping to see how you'll react. Your ability to stay composed earns her respect, and respect is the foundation of lasting attraction. Women don't forget men who made them feel secure emotionally, not because he gave in to her every mood, but because he remained solid while still being present. That combination of emotional control and strength leaves a lasting impression long after the relationship ends. He never seeks her approval. 4. He never seeks her approval. One of the biggest traps men fall into is seeking a woman's approval. They want her to like them so badly that they start adjusting their words, behavior, and even their beliefs just to get her validation. The problem is, the more approval you seek, the less respect you get. Women aren't attracted to men who need constant reassurance. They're attracted to men who are already sure of themselves, with or without her validation. When you need her approval, you give her control. You're silently telling her, "I'm not sure I'm good enough unless you say so." That kind of insecurity is deeply unattractive. A man who doesn't seek approval operates from a place of inner confidence. He knows who he is, what he stands for, and what he wants. He doesn't change his opinions to avoid disagreement. He doesn't act differently just to please her. He stays authentic whether she likes it or not. Ironically, this honesty makes him far more attractive because it shows strength. Women test men all the time, often without even realizing it. They might question your choices, tease you, or challenge your decisions to see if you'll fold. Most men do. They start explaining themselves, justifying their actions, or changing their stance just to avoid conflict. But every time you give in, you lose a little more of her respect. A man who doesn't seek approval doesn't get thrown off by these tests. He doesn't feel the need to prove himself or explain every decision. He allows her to disagree without feeling threatened. That calm confidence tells her everything she needs to know, that he's not dependent on her opinion to validate his worth. When a man carries himself this way, it creates a different kind of dynamic. Instead of chasing her approval, she starts seeking his. She becomes more invested, more curious, and more eager to impress him, because he isn't easily swayed or controlled by her reactions. Many men believe that constantly agreeing, being overly accommodating, or always trying to keep her happy will make her love them more. But the opposite is true. When you're always seeking approval, you become predictable, boring, and easy to control. Women are naturally drawn to men who lead, not men who follow. The men women never forget are the ones who stood firm in who they were. They didn't try to be someone else to gain approval. They didn't need constant praise. They lived by their own code, and that left a lasting impression that no amount of approval seeking could ever achieve. He makes her earn his attention. 5. He makes her earn his attention. Attention is one of the most valuable things a man can give. The problem is most men give it away too easily. They meet a woman they like, and immediately they start flooding her with compliments, texts, favors, and endless time. They believe the more attention they give, the more she'll like them. But in reality, when attention is too easily available, it loses all its value. Women are not attracted to men who hand out their attention like it means nothing. They're drawn to men who make them work for it. When attention has to be earned, it becomes valuable. It creates curiosity, intrigue, and desire. She starts to wonder what she needs to do to get more of his time and focus. A man who makes a woman earn his attention doesn't do it to play games or manipulate. He does it because he values his time, his energy, and his peace. He knows that not every woman deserves unlimited access to him. He understands that attention is a privilege, not a given. This doesn't mean ignoring her completely or acting disinterested. It means being selective about how much time and energy you invest. Especially in the early stages, you're not instantly available 24/7. You don't drop everything just because she calls or texts. You have your own life, your own priorities, and she has to fit into that, not the other way around. For example, imagine a man who's building his career, hitting the gym, spending time with his friends and pursuing his goals. He meets a woman he's interested in, but he doesn't abandon his routine just to be around her constantly. He sees her when it makes sense for him, keeps conversations meaningful, but doesn't drag them out unnecessarily, and maintains his focus on his personal mission. Over time, she starts to see that she's not his entire world, and that makes her want his attention even more. When a woman has to put in effort to gain your attention, she naturally becomes more invested. She values what isn't handed to her easily. It's basic human psychology. We value what we have to earn. Men who give unlimited attention from the start often get taken for granted. Their presence feels too predictable, too easy. But the man who makes his attention scarce, who remains slightly out of reach, triggers a woman's natural desire to chase. That's the man who stays on her mind. Women never forget the man who didn't throw himself at them, but instead required them to prove their worth. That experience sticks with them because it's rare. Most men do the exact opposite. Standing apart is what makes you unforgettable. He maintains mystery. 6. He maintains mystery. Most men don't realize how powerful mystery is in building attraction. They think the more they share, the more they reveal, the more a woman will feel connected to them. In reality, the complete opposite often happens. When everything is laid out too soon, there's nothing left for her to be curious about. And without curiosity, interest fades. Mystery isn't about being secretive or hiding important things. It's about not giving her full access to your mind, emotions, and life story right away. It's about leaving space for her to wonder about you, to think about you, and to feel the need to figure you out. That space creates tension, and tension keeps attraction alive. When a man maintains mystery, he doesn't overshare every detail of his day. He doesn't feel the need to constantly explain his plans or his feelings. He allows her to experience him in pieces, not all at once. This keeps her engaged because her mind stays active, trying to understand who he really is. Most guys feel pressure to open up too quickly because they want to be seen as honest or transparent. They talk about every little insecurity, every past relationship, every problem they faced, hoping it will create a deeper connection. But what they don't realize is that overexposure kills the spark. When a woman feels like she knows everything too soon, there's nothing left for her to explore emotionally. The excitement dies. A mysterious man also doesn't react predictably. She never fully knows what he's thinking or how he'll respond. This doesn't mean being emotionally distant or manipulative. It simply means maintaining an element of unpredictability. When she's not entirely sure where she stands, she invests more emotionally because she wants to secure his attention. Women are naturally drawn to men they can't fully figure out. It's a psychological pull. The unknown triggers their imagination. They think about the man even when he's not around, because unanswered questions live rentrée in their minds. Mystery also creates a sense of depth. When you reveal yourself slowly, it gives the impression that there's more beneath the surface layers that she hasn't uncovered yet, and that keeps her coming back, wanting to discover more. The men women never forget are the ones who didn't expose everything too quickly, the ones who always had a little bit of an edge, a bit of mystery that kept her wondering. That mystery made the connection feel exciting, intense and addictive, something that stays in her memory long after the relationship ends. He puts his mission first. 7. He puts his mission first. Far too many men have forgotten who they're supposed to be. They make the woman the center of their world. Every decision, every move, every ounce of their energy revolves around keeping her happy. They sacrifice their ambitions, their goals, even their identity, all in the name of love. And then they wonder why she loses respect, loses interest, and eventually leaves. Here's the harsh truth. Women are not attracted to men who make them their entire purpose. That kind of dependency creates pressure. It signals weakness. When a woman becomes a man's mission, she starts to feel like his mother, not his partner. That's not the role she wants to play. She wants a man who is already driven, already building something, already pursuing a life that excites him, with or without her. A man who puts his mission first isn't being selfish. He's being a man, his career, his purpose, his personal growth. These are the things that give him strength and identity. When a man is deeply committed to his mission, it shows discipline, ambition, and confidence. It tells the world that he has a direction, that his life has meaning beyond chasing relationships. Women are naturally drawn to men who are busy building. They respect a man who has priorities, who doesn't drop everything just to be available at all times. In fact, the busier you are pursuing your mission, the more valuable your time becomes in her eyes. She respects you because you respect yourself and your... Now, let's be real for a second. Many men today need to wake up. You've been sold a fantasy that says the way to a woman's heart is through constant availability, endless attention, and sacrificing everything for her. But what has that done for you? Has it made her love you more? Or has it left you frustrated, confused, and feeling like you've lost yourself? It's time to stop living for approval. Your life has to be bigger than any one person. When your mission is your priority, everything else falls into place. The right woman won't leave because you're busy building. She'll admire your focus, your drive, and your discipline. She'll respect you because you're not easily distracted and because you value yourself enough to never lose sight of your purpose. The men women never forget are the ones who stood firm in their mission, the ones who didn't make love their identity, but rather invited love to be a part of the life they were already creating. That kind of man is rare, and that's exactly why he's unforgettable. At the end of the day, most men lose. Not summary, because they weren't good enough, but because they tried too hard to be everything a woman wanted. And in doing so, they forgot to be what she actually desires, a man who doesn't need her. The moment a woman feels you need her more than she needs you, you've already lost her respect. That statement may sting, but it's the truth. Neediness destroys attraction. The men women never forget are the ones who stood on their own 2 feet, who didn't chase, who walked away when necessary, who controlled themselves, stayed mysterious, and above all, stayed committed to their mission. If you found yourself in any of these situations, you're not alone. Many men have made these mistakes. I've made some myself. But awareness is the first step to change. I want to hear from you. Drop your experiences in the comments. Tell me where you've struggled, what situations you faced, or even what's worked for you. I personally read every comment and respond to as many as I can. Let's make this a real conversation where we can grow together as men. If you found value in this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with another man who needs to hear the truth. I'll see you in the next one.